Welcome back, everybody, to another 0 Point Reviews with Kevin and Jeff. This time we're covering The Punisher Warzone from 2008, starring Ray Stevenson.
This deal is going down tonight.
Somebody has to punish the corrupt.
On December 5th, Ray Stevenson is the Punisher. Punisher Warzone.
This is just the beginning.
Rated R. In theaters everywhere, December 5th.
And thank God it was the fucking end of this film franchise.
Spoiler.
Welcome back, everybody, to the good, the bad, and the ugly of 0 Point Reviews. Again, Jeff and Kevin coming at you. This time we're covering, 2008's Ray Stevenson's The Punisher. All right, Kevin, before we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, did you ever see this one in theaters, or what was your first experience with this bad boy?
Okay, so get this. I followed this like religiously online and Wizard magazine before they stopped printing. Like was just following it all the way through because I loved the 2004 version. I wanted Tom Jane to come back so much, and for a long time he was supposed to be. I followed Lexi Alexander's announcement of becoming director all the way through the movie coming out to the theater. And then I could not tell you if I saw it in the theaters or not. I don't remember. Is
that a sign of things to come with this movie that is not memorable, Kevin?
Yeah, like my earliest memory of this is watching the DVD and like going, "Oh shit, like they just blew that guy up."
Yeah, that's pretty accurate with this movie. I never saw this in theaters. I was very excited for a Thomas Jane follow-up, which never happened due to various problems behind the scenes, including delaying a sequel, rejecting the script ideas that they wanted from both sides. So Lionsgate, Thomas Jane, the former writer and the directors from the 2004 version, there was a lot of behind-the-scenes issues, and it's unfortunate. And later we got Thomas Jane with Dirty Laundry doing a kind of a 10-minute short for a pretty good little follow-up to 2004's Punisher. But this one, when I was checking out like the trailers as it was coming out, I'm like, that's not it for me. Ray Stevenson looks good. The rest of it looked like complete trash to me, to be frank with everybody. And I know we just watched the commercial, one of the television commercials for this, and it's cool. It sounds like it's gonna get you jacked and let's fucking go. But unfortunately, that's not where the movie ended up. Ultimately, I never watched this thing until literally today for the very first time with my steelbook that I have from Lionsgate. Thank you, Lionsgate. You didn't send this to me, but I bought it from Walmart. But it's got a very cool red slipcover.
Cool.
And like this packaging is way more cooler than the actual movie, in my opinion. Spoiler alert on Final Judgment. But ultimately, this is a really good addition. So if you're really into Blu-rays and collecting and you like your Punisher, this would be a good one to get. There are extras on here. However, I did not watch like any of them, but it looks like, don't tell me this doesn't look pretty rad. So
It does. And I just had the regular DVD. I'm surprised I didn't buy the Blu-ray because I'd already had my PS3 at this point. And again, I liked the Punisher enough that I would have bought this on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But whatever. I didn't dislike it as much as I did this last time around. The first time I was kind of like, well, it certainly looks more like the Punisher than anything we've seen before. Like, but it didn't feel as good as the last movie did. And that's where really I was caught up with my first watch of it, my first memory of it.
That's true. And that's why we're going to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. So Kevin, kick us off with the good section here.
Bum, bum, bum. This movie is violent as fuck, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, It starts off very unapologetically decapitating an old man.
Very much so.
And it's funny is the plot, the beginning plot is the very same as the Dolph Lundgren movie. It's the old man celebrating his acquittal for however he got acquitted this time. I don't remember the witness tampering or whatever, but he's throwing a party for his acquittal. Frank comes in, kills everybody. It was a great show. And then you've got to deal with the story for a little bit after that. But the opening sequence was really violent, really great. Frank doesn't say anything for like 25 minutes into the movie. All he does is just kill people. And you're like, okay, bravo. Bravo. Then you get into the bad guys. That's really what the movie is about. It's a movie about the bad guys. Frank just happens to be in it. I'm skipping ahead to the bad. God damn it.
Yeah, well, to your credit, the opening act of this movie is outstanding. Like the first about 25-30 minutes, it's just all Punisher and Punisher mode scenes doing Punisher things. It's a great start to the movie, and I got to give him credit. Ray Stevenson was awesome as Frank. I really liked him when he was like totally in Punisher mode. He totally looked like the Punisher, totally acted like the Punisher. Ultimately, he's not the problem with this movie. He's actually one of the very best parts about this movie. So Ray Stevenson, dude, thumbs up and rest in peace, good sir. It's sad that you are no longer with us, but he did fantastic in this. I'm still going to be one of those guys that says Thomas Jane is my boy. This is going to be number 2 for me. And probably right alongside John Bernthal, which we're going to be covering the TV show soon on our podcast. But like for actual look, physicality, and everything, Ray Stevenson did a freaking-tastic job here. And he's probably the best actor that was in this movie.
He and Wayne Knight, like the good for me is the supporting cast. Like the entire cast is really good, but the supporting cast, like Wayne Knight specifically, was pretty like right on the money for Microchip.
Which one's Wayne Knight?
Newman from Seinfeld, or
Newman
Nedry from Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know the name. Even my wife pointed out, it's Newman, before she heard the voice before we actually saw him. And I'm like, huh? I'm not a Seinfeld guy. So I'm sorry if I lose a few viewers, but my wife is a big Seinfeld fan and she really enjoyed him in this. So he did fine.
I liked him. This was a good movie for him because it wasn't comedic. He was very serious. He was Frank's don't give up conscious. Like,
yeah.
Telling him, yeah, okay, sure, you shot the innocent Fed, but you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Collateral damage.
It happens, dude. It's okay. Like, I mean, it's not okay, but you got to understand things are going to happen when you're going against a big mafia family over and over and over again. It's just going to happen. That's just the way it goes because you're waging a one-man army war against the crime families.
Yeah, he doesn't have all the info. Shit, even the cops didn't have the info. The police sergeant or chief was sitting there complaining to the feds, saying, maybe if you guys would tell us when you do shit like this, accidents like this wouldn't happen.
Exactly. Even the ones tipping them off, they're like, hey, we try and feed you information now and then. We even let you get away. Which is really funny in the opening act when he's walking out of the freaking mansion after killing pretty much everybody. That the first cop that walks up, he's like, freeze. Oh, never mind. The other one, Billy, went to the recycling plant and then he breaks his own freaking nose. And it's like, oh, it's that kind of movie. All right. This could be all right.
And that was one of the fun things I did like about this flick is like some of the cops, yes, see Frank as a vigilante. So they've got to arrest him. The other cops, they remember their friend. Like Frank was their partner and friend. Not in this movie. He's counter ops and Marine again in this too. But in the comic books, like some of them still very much respected him. They remembered their partner. They remembered their friend. there was the cops that believed in what he was doing because they'd had perps let go by dirty judges. So it was neat to see that aspect in this movie, that he was getting the support, he was getting the help, and that even the cops that they thought that they were in the know by helping him didn't know that Soap was his actual partner pulling strings on everybody for the entire time.
Well, he's the task force, yo. He's down in the basement with all the files, which filled up like the whole basement floor. That was super funny of seeing that. Like, which files are on Frank Castle's victims? All of them, and then they pan around, and I'm like, that's a great visual and a great line of dialogue right there. Like, that was tremendous, because even the Fed was just like, holy shit.
Yeah. He's been busy in 5 years. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. And Soap was an interesting character, but I wouldn't put him on the good side, but he had some moments for him. But ultimately, I want to say for the good side, whenever we had an action scene, it was awesome. Like the gore, the practicality, the mythology, the methodology, the way they was strategically constructing every scene, and how he handled his weapons was wonderful. It's like, could I just get a movie of all of that, please? Something akin to like maybe Dread, The Raid, like him going through the building at the end. I was hoping would actually be more than like 3 minutes long.
Yes, the third act was like a shooting gallery, and it was the most fun that this movie offers.
I actually disagree. I think they could have gone for a little longer on the build up to the final battle, and in the climax they ultimately failed with the final fights. They were a big letdown. Jigsaw, I mean, we'll get to the bad and the ugly. I did not like the third act of this movie. I liked Castle going into the building, and then once he got to the top floor, I did not like what happened at the end.
Well, it was goofy. Do I have a picture of it here?
Well, do you have any more good stuff before we switch on over to?
There's plenty of good stuff we could talk about, I suppose, maybe.
Because the other thing I would bring up on with this movie as a strong suit is the soundtrack is tight. It is very awesome. They got some great bands, and they got some great music in there, like Slipknot, Rob Zombie, and quite a few others. They even got some Seether in there, one of my favorite bands. So shout out Seether. My wife recognized Seether, actually.
I didn't recognize anybody in here, but the music all fit the scenes. They really did. Like, they got you amped for the action. Mm-hmm. That is one thing I will definitely say about that. I don't know who was in charge of that, but it all worked very, very well. And I appreciated the action scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then to your point, his managing of his firearms was an art to see, because again, he went through special training, actual military training, to know how to do that. So as he's fiddling, quote unquote, with his sidearms, like, he was doing that strategically, and it looked so good to watch him do as a professional marksman. It was really neat to see.
Right. It felt like it was a good pickup from Thomas Jane in 2004 to this movie, where they not only took from that, they actually improved upon it. So that's a really nice touch with this movie.
And I do recommend checking out some of your special features on that Blu-ray, because one of them should be scenes from them taking that military training and like infiltrating basically shooting gallery rooms, like real life shooting gallery rooms. It was cool.
Training to become the Punisher.
Yeah.
I will do that.
But this is the picture I warned you about, was going to get us pinged for censorship. Where he shoots this guy in the fucking face. Like,
splat.
Yeah. No question. Had no reason to shoot him other than the fact that he's a bad guy and he was there, that they threatened the family. And he did. And it was just beautiful. Bang! And Mick Budiansky shit his pants up against the wall. God damn it, Castle!
Well, the funny moment about this scene is my wife was saying, like, man, the acting with the kid is so bad. And then he shot the guy, and I just went, "Oh shit!" Literally within a split second of her saying, "Man, I don't know about the acting with that kid," and I just went, "Oh shit!"
I
So that
didn't
was
like.
pretty funny.
I didn't dislike he and the kid. He and the
No,
kid were
not him, the kid.
Oh, I just meant their chemistry together.
It was okay. I wasn't feeling that either, but
The kid was not my problem. I did not. I had problems with scenes that she was in, but she was not the problem. No.
I would probably put that more on the director a little bit for some of the acting in this movie. But unless you got any more good stuff to talk about, Kevin, do we want to get into the bad?
We could talk about the bad. Bum, bum, bum. There was a lot in this movie that was fun but didn't make sense. And the things that didn't make sense ended the fun. Like him deciding to spin upside down, shooting continuously in a room full of bad guys all shooting at him from various angles.
Christ.
And all I could think of was Agent Smecker going, "Television is the explanation for this. You see this sort of thing in bad television. Nobody does this cowboy shit in real life."
This was ridiculous. Like, I intentionally am going to hang myself from a glass chandelier and spin around and start shooting fools like it's a video game. If I wanted to play the Punisher video game, I'd go find the Punisher arcade game and smoke bitches for an hour or two.
Yeah, that's a good ass game, though.
Just saying. I mean, for the most part, the action scenes are pretty well grounded in reality, but there's a couple moments throughout some of these that it's like, what are you doing over there? Like, who thought of this idea, and who actually thought it would execute well as a Punisher idea? If you're going to do something as the Punisher in this sort of scene, you go through a glass ceiling and you're rappelling down.
Yeah.
That way it's like kind of like a little bungee cord effect. You're going head down, but you're fully intending to stop and start shooting people immediately. And, that would make a little more sense. Like, say, Mission Impossible, the very first scene where he rappels down and he kind of dips head forward. And that makes sense. Make it make sense. This movie had a lot of problems making things make sense. And some of the action scenes did that. But for the most part, action scenes were pretty on point. But to your credit, like, there's a couple of these that are just like that. But, a lot of this plot didn't make a whole lot of sense, Kevin. Gotta say, the plot failed this movie.
Yes, it was flimsy. It was about Jigsaw. It was an origin story for Jigsaw.
Oh, fuck.
Do I have a picture of him up here? Where's Billy? There he is. Billy the Butte.
Fucking ridiculous. This is the stupidest fucking thing I've seen in this movie, is him and the actor who played him. This was some of the worst shit I've seen on a fucking movie. I would take Dolph Lundgren over this shit 900 times out of 900. Fucking hated what they did with Billy. I hate the look. Fucking horrible acting. I did not like this, like, at all. This actually really pissed me off most of the movie.
It was very over the top. Very over the top.
Did not fit with the tone of this movie after the first 30 minutes. It really didn't.
No, they changed the tone of the movie in a way to the point where they make it comedic.
It's Batman fucking Forever.
Yes.
And Batman and Robin.
Yes. Once he turns into Jigsaw,
they go fucking brother. Schumacher. Fuck that guy too.
You don't like Looney Bin Jim?
No, I hate fucking both of them.
This picture's not going to make you feel any better then. So my issue
number
with
one,
this,
Kevin. Number one.
I love Doug Hutchinson. He's one of my favorite bad guys ever, and he always will be. Like, between
he sucked too.
The way they had Looney Bin Jim acting really sucked in this. Like, is he unhinged or is he angry? You got to be one of the two. Like they've got him doing the whole anger thing, crunching on the stress, not a stress ball, but it's basically the exercise thing for your hand. I can't remember what they're called.
Stress ball.
Yeah, like
But he was using the actual hand grip that you build up your hand strength with. Which
yes,
there are scenes where he's just holding it and they're still making the Foley sound that he's actually squeezing it and he's only holding it. I noticed that shit, dude. I haven't watched this movie before.
I hadn't caught that, and I think this is probably my third time watching it.
You're
That's
a stronger
funny.
man than I am.
Well, I mean, again, I watched it when it first came out, and I'm sure I saw it in the theater, so this would be the third time.
Is it going to be the last time?
Likely is not. Again, I like the fact that you get to see Jigsaw. Am I pleased with Jigsaw in this? No, because like you said, no one's really gotten Jigsaw right. Like,
yeah, he's never been done properly, even in the Netflix TV show. I know there's fans out there. It's okay if you like that. In my personal opinion, we haven't seen a real Jigsaw, and we probably never will because he's fucking crazy fuckwad. We ain't never going to see that psychotic motherfucker properly ever adapted. We're just not.
a pretty close adaptation to him would be what they turned Hammerhead into on the Spider-Man video game in the first one. Like he was just a sadistic mafia guy. Like didn't care about anything other than himself. Total narcissist, wanted to kill Frank, hated Frank because of what Frank did to his face.
Right.
Like I really liked him and the backstory that they give him, which again you have to use your knowledge of the comic books and a little bit of imagination, but he was cool in the NES video game. Like he was really cool to face. He looked cool.
Yeah.
And again, that was like an 11-year-old kid, but still, he was a lot neater there than he was here. Looney Bin Jim, I don't think I ever read anything with him in that, so I don't have any base of comparison, but was a bit over the top. His knowledge
Way over the top
of what breaks in the human body was annoying. That's
They're trying to make him Hannibal fucking Lecter.
Yeah, that's a torn meniscus. Sure,
Okay.
or you just kicked my leg.
Well, and he's
But-
also a guy I don't think that physically looks like he could go to toe with Ray Stevenson, even in a hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, and that's why he got thrown through several walls.
And didn't break a back, didn't break a neck, didn't break his skull, didn't break anything. He just got a few cuts. Whereas anybody, if they were treating that particular fight scene realistically, that dude never would have walked fucking again. But no, he runs right down the hallway and puts a gun to the kid's head. It's like, oh my fucking God. The logic in this movie just totally escapes it. Like, who wrote this fucking shit? If they had gone with the original script with Thomas Jane and went with Thomas Jane and the original director that they were going to have, this would have been a fucking badass movie because they had Jigsaw right in that first fucking script.
So
and I can't even fucking talk about that because I actually read it.
To answer your question, it was Lexi Alexander that wrote that scene. The pick or choose between Micro and the Donatellis, that was Lexi writing that.
Fuck her too.
So again, between her killing one of the main characters from the actual comic book, Micro, not wanting to have the goddamn skull on there again until the studio told her, yeah, you actually kind of have to. They tried not doing that the first time and nobody liked it. Maybe she was not actually the person for this film.
Yeah, I don't think she. Hey, you can do stunts. Awesome. Not everybody that does stunts can go into directing. We've seen different with John Wick. That's a different situation. This is in like The Fall Guy. That's a great freaking movie that nobody went and saw either.
True.
Not all of them translate. This is one of the misses.
This wasn't just an action flick. This was a flick about a character that people wanted to see, people knew about, cared about. And if you miss certain things, or if you make things that are important flimsy, like you're flimsy ass bad guys, then you damage the integrity of your movie, especially when you've already had a quality film. Like the original was not that great by any standards at all.
I mean, we liked it, but we are perfectly acknowledgeable of the problems with that movie.
Yes. This film made less money than it did. This is the lowest grossing Marvel movie up until the Marvels.
Yep. What does that say, everybody?
Just and saying. that includes Howard the Duck. Yes, it includes Howard the Duck.
Don't fuck with the duck.
Not on my watch. I love that stupid ass flick. My wife's like, "Why do you watch it? It's so gross." I'm like, "Yes, I know it had Tim Robbins in it, but if you can get past that, it's quite funny."
This is true.
It's got feathered boobies.
Even I get a kick out of that one.
Yeah. I watch it once every like 15 years, but still. But this, like, with the bad, she understood the action of the character. I don't think that she understood what type of story needed to have been told, especially after what we'd previously seen with the Tom Jane movie. Like, there was no silliness to that shit. It was a very serious flick. That's what people had expected. That's what people wanted. Nobody asked for a fucking goofy reboot at all.
Yeah, like yet another reboot. Nobody wanted that. And as a director, like, since she had like no previous real credit to actually directing a full feature movie, what's to say she could actually pull out drama or specific inflections out of certain characters? None of the like a lot of the actors and actresses, sure, they might be really good. You wouldn't think it by watching this movie, other than like Ray Stevenson and a couple other characters that were fine, but like Micro, fine. But like everybody else is just like, why are you playing that person goofy? Why is this person a little too over the top? Why does this person feel like they're just bored out of their fucking mind, which is almost half the entire cast, just kind of mumbling their way through and just being like, "Hey, is it 5? Can I get my paycheck? I need a drink, yo." That's what it felt like watching this. I felt like a Sci-Fi Channel movie would be better than this. Like Asylum would do better than this. And when do you hear me fucking ever say that? It's probably because I care too much about the Punisher as a property and you had Ray fucking Stevenson. Looked good, did good as Frank and Punisher. The rest of the movie failed around him. Huge. It was hard to watch at times. Very hard to watch. The pacing is bad. The writing is bad. The acting is fucking bad. Everything is bad in this fucking movie, in my opinion, except for Ray Stevenson as the Punisher. And even his fucking win at the end, when you get to the end of this fucking movie and you hit like the very last credit scene, what's he doing? It's a great image. Him standing at the top of the stairs with the Jesus saves behind him. The Jesus of the neon light fades and it just says saves. And then he shoots a guy who was just holding up a cop. So he just murdered somebody for holding up soap?
Yes.
Wow.
That's accurate. He would have done that.
That seemed out of context for how they were doing this particular movie.
Frank kills everybody. It's just that,
including undercover cops.
Yes. That was an accident. The guy should have identified himself sooner.
That was my problem with that scene. Not so much as a comic book adaptation, but as a police officer, I would have said, "You do know I'm a police officer, right?"
My biggest issue about that scene is the guy was walking out of the bathroom on the top of a fucking factory. Like, he had to climb 3 flights of stairs and scaffolding to get to that fucking bathroom up there. Most of those are on the fucking floor, home slice. Like, come on now.
Yeah. So
anyway,
I mean, great.
It was
There
silly.
was some great shots and great scenery. I won't deny that at all. But like,
Sure.
there's some like really questionable things that they were doing in this movie, plot wise and direction wise.
Yes. I agree.
All right, Kevin, The Ugly. Let's do it.
The Ugly, I will expound upon what you were just saying. The acting in this from great actors was absolutely horrid.
Atrocious.
Julie Benz is a fantastic actor, was terrible in this movie. And it wasn't just
Yep.
her character. Like I didn't want to see Julie on the screen. I didn't mind his scenes with the kid. Julie, I didn't like. The character was dumb. She didn't need to be playing that character. Like, I don't know that she felt the character. Like, her best friend and partner was killed by this man, but it was not entertaining for me. It wasn't. Her accent didn't sound like she was really from the area. I may be mistaken, but she didn't sound like she was from Brooklyn.
She sounded like she was from Boston.
Yeah. Everybody that had an accent in this movie was
Jesus Christ
bad. And when I say bad, I don't mean like they've never heard that accent before. I mean like it was racist as fuck, way tone deaf.
It's like they watched The Sopranos and thought, hey, I can do that too.
Like the guy that plays Carlos. What's a good Mexican name? Carlos. Ha ha ha. Like,
not Jose or Juan.
My man, that had to have hurt talking like that. I heard it was bad. It was a bad accent. I like most of my friends are Hispanic and not a single one of them, not a single one talks like that.
Yeah, me too.
The Scottish guy with fucking dreadlocks.
God damn it, I forgot about that.
Could have fucking died 20 goddamn minutes sooner.
Yep.
A meth head
the Free Flow Gang is what they were called, everybody. Like, seriously? I would have called them the Parkour Army or something.
Yeah, and that was because the director's friend made a comment how there were just like way too many parkour videos now. Agreed. God. So I appreciate that. The fact that they blew that fucker up midair was pretty cool.
Which was completely unrealistic too.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But the rest of it was stupid and annoying. Oh, we just fucking hacked this guy up with the machete. Now we're going to go jump off the top of his building.
And jump off of ladders, do flips, run across a few air conditioners, and hey, let's just keep rolling around and jumping around. And hey, can we go out through the roof? We just came in through the front door, but we want something a little more fun.
Yeah, what? and I know that the Afghani war was still going on at this point. It was 2008, so like it was really strong. But I don't know how many times they said pretty racial words for terrorists and terrorist organizations in this movie. It's like it's a definite product of its time. Like you can't say that anymore.
Well, they kept doing that. That was kind of like, wow, I didn't know. I'm glad I never saw this in theaters, to be honest with you. Or I would have been like, wow, that's not okay. And I'm not usually a person to be like, yeah, that's product of its time, and that's how it was. Nothing was like that back in 2008. It's like this movie really wanted to try and be the Dark Knight while trying to be the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin of this generation for Punisher.
Yeah, they tried taking a step forward or two steps forward by, well, no, one step forward by making it more comic accurate, which it had more comic accurate elements. It was not a more comic accurate film.
Correct.
That's the thing. But they took two steps back in storytelling. Like it didn't have the storytelling ability or even the directing ability, the filmmaking ability that the second movie had, that the 2004 film had.
Yeah, the behind the scenes talent just was not there to pull this movie through. And I attribute a lot of that to the ugly side of like the production of what happened between 2004 and 2008 with this movie. Like the fact you told Thomas Jane like removed himself from the project because nobody was digging the script that they wanted to do, and then everybody else left. And then what do? You keep rewriting the script, rewriting the script. Oh, hey, we're going to keep Jigsaw around. That's a great idea, but let's keep changing things and like mix things up. And let's do this and let's do that. The best decision they made was probably hiring Ray Stevenson. I miss Thomas Jane. He's my Punisher, but
Yeah.
they did do a good job with Ray, and Ray knocked it out of the park. So I can't fault that, but the rest of the movie goes from bad to ugly in like 3 seconds flat. Like a
Yes.
great opening act. The middle act just kind of stalls out. Like, why are you inserting all these stupid filler scenes? It's like you could have cut like 20 minutes out of this movie and it would have made no fucking difference. You got Jigsaw and his brother strolling down a street talking to all these different families, just swagging around like they're the bushwhackers from old WWF.
They were.
And they were like literally everybody. Have you seen this fucking movie? They walk like the fucking bushwhackers down the street, like, yeah, we're rallying up an army so we can take out the Punisher. Jesus fucking Christ, where is this? Too goofy. This movie went too fucking goofy. And if you want to say the 89 one's too goofy, clearly you haven't seen this movie. You really haven't. I ain't hating on anybody who likes this movie. You like this movie? Cool. But you have to acknowledge that this movie is not as good as either of the previous two. It's just not. You can argue Ray as one of the best Punishers. Absolutely. Is this a better fucking movie? It is not. This is the ugliest of all the three fucking movies.
I think it's the cheesiest.
It's very cheesy and unwarranted. It didn't need to be cheesy.
No, because shit, even the first movie in 89, that was, when I say that's cheesy, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, it's cheesy because it didn't have the budget.
Right.
It didn't have like the society ready for a comic book movie. So the type of movie that it was really out of place for the time. It was new. Batman was the only thing at the time, and Batman wore a fucking costume.
Yeah.
So, well, excuse me, Superman as well. But anyway, I don't know. This was too cheesy to warrant another sequel for. So I think the Netflix series was really a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, when they announced that after the appearance in Daredevil season 2, I want to say, I was like, John Bernthal is fucking fantastic. That's great. And then we get a Punisher show, and season 1 is awesome. I am looking so much forward to actually covering that next. And season 2, we'll discuss that as we cross that bridge. But ultimately, like, I'm glad they decided to revisit it years later. But one of the concerns I have about, like, say, like this movie is they put this under the Marvel Knights banner.
Yeah.
When they did that, it's like, what are you working towards? What are you really trying to do with this movie? You're doing Marvel Knights. Does that mean you're going to do other Marvel Knights?
They were going to try.
Like, how
They're
the
still
fuck do you
trying.
make that work in this fucking universe? I don't see it. I don't see how that would have worked, but clearly they were trying to set something up with this and it failed. And so it kind of burned out on them.
Well, you saw that eventually come to fruition with the Defenders.
And all the Netflix series were great, but the Defenders was not so awesome. It had moments, but it wasn't good.
Iron Fist was truly caca. I did not like it. The Defenders, like you said,
God,
yes,
I
did
suffered through Iron Fist.
Yeah, Iron Fist is truly the death knell of that saga. Like it didn't need to be. It kind of halts everything to a bitter end, and it's not exciting at all.
No, like Punisher, Jessica, and Daredevil, and Luke Cage, all very, very good shows in their own rights. Iron Fist just kind of like, what? I mean, I watched it. and I was just like, oh, this is all right, but this ain't good.
And also not comic accurate either. The rest of them were.
Not even close with Iron Fist. They cast the
Yeah.
wrong fucking dude for that show, and the writing wasn't there for it anyway. But that's when we all knew Defenders was gonna like, what are we gonna? He ended up being okay in Defenders. But the
Again,
rest of it
an
sucked.
ensemble. It
Yeah,
was
and
an
an
ensemble film.
Yeah, but a true Iron Fist comic adaptation would be pretty rad.
Yeah, I liked it too. It was Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Sorry, people are home like, it's true. But anyway, Punisher, this movie could have been the sequel that we wanted. It turned out to be a failed attempt at getting the MCU booted up. It did not work. Maybe we'll see. Wait, we won't see him in Daredevil, will we? Maybe we'll see Tom Jane or Dolph Lundgren or
You mean
John
Deadpool?
No. Yes, in Deadpool.
You said Daredevil.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I also meant Daredevil because Daredevil was a Marvel Knight.
Yeah,
was not going to return anyway.
Well, the rumors are, real quick, everybody, before we get to final judgment, is that Daredevil and Elektra are going to be Ben Affleck and what's her name, Jennifer Garner, are going to be cameoing in Deadpool Wolverine.
So curious to see that. So curious.
I mean, I'm not going opening weekend, so we're all going to get spoiled on all the cameos in this. So I'm all for it. I'm still going to go see the movie eventually with my wife and still have a good time. So go ahead and spoil it away if that's the case.
Yay, good, because I'm going Friday morning. You know how I hate
expect a review by Friday noon.
I hope so, man. Shit. Anyway. So, are you ready to give final judgments on this movie?
Yep. I've been punished enough with this movie.
All right. Our final judgment. So, this picture is what got Lexi Alexander the job. Like her idea to film this scene. Yeah, sure. I don't know if it warrants being like, you know what? Maybe she's got the chops to do this whole movie. Notice how they had to light up the skull.
Yep.
And I'm sure that was something that they didn't want to do or she didn't want to do. Tough shit. This is what the fans wanted. And
this is the design.
She felt it looked too preschoolish.
Oh,
go make another fucking movie.
Why are they putting fucking directors like this in charge of fucking movies even back then? I don't get it.
Well, for one thing, she didn't cost very much money. She was nobody.
Clearly.
And
if I could pay a director $10 to do a Punisher movie, I wouldn't, but I can see how some would.
Yeah, well,
free catering.
Free catering. I don't know. This, like I said last week, my prediction was going to be that at the very best, you would like this movie, that you wouldn't love it. That's how I kind of feel about it. I like this film. There are certain elements that I really like about it. I don't love this movie by any means. There's nothing about this flick that I truly love. I love that they brought Micro into it, but not to be killed. Like, there was no reason for that whatsoever. Everyone had opposite reactions of how they would truly react in real life. Like, he sees his brother get killed in front of him, doesn't freak out, immediately shoots Micro, and then tries to kill Frank. It's like, you'd be too freaked out. I don't know. This isn't one I could watch again and again if it's on TV all the time. I would probably still skip to see if there was something else on. Not like the 2004 version. That really is my version of this character.
Yeah. I would agree with that too. And I feel a little bit of the same way with this Punisher Warzone movie. Like, there's things I like, but there's a lot that I don't like. And I can't even say I like this movie. I like moments in this movie. And it's basically whenever Ray Stevenson is doing Punisher things as Punisher or Frank Castle. Whenever he's not on screen, I don't like this movie. I don't like it at all. The writing is crap. The acting is horrible. The action scenes are dope. Soundtrack's great. Like I want to like the movie. Believe me, I want to like this movie. I don't. I have this Blu-ray. The case is brilliant. When I watch this movie in the future, I'm gonna be fast forwarding just to watch Ray Stevenson kill people.
That first and third act are awesome.
First act, yes, and third act has great action scenes. The ending is ridiculous. Like how the brother could like go toe to toe with Frank is beyond me. I don't care how much of a psycho killer he is. Dude looks like he's got a beer belly the size of a keg, and he's knocking fucking Frank out. Like that's fucking ridiculous. And he's doing kung fu fighting, bouncing off walls. Like who the fuck is this guy? They built up none of this, everybody. They didn't give any backstory to anybody. Anybody. They just talk about Mr. whatever his fucking name is as some, oh, he's psychotic. He's not psychotic. He's overacting. And it's not good. And it's just none of this shit is believable. So final judgment from me is it's okay. Ray Stevenson's fantastic. Action's fantastic. Soundtrack's great. That's all I got. If I'm going to give this a score, I'm giving this like a 4 out of 10.
That's fair. That's fair. It got like a 5.5, 5.3, and I'd say I'd probably stick around there. 4 is not out of the question. I can't say that's wrong.
I mean, again, I won't go like total 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 on this, but it ain't good.
No, because I'm still entertained. So I can't go below 5 because I was entertained, but not throughout the entire film. Like I didn't come out feeling like, dude, wow, that was some shit. The Age of Marvel is coming.
That's what that movie should have been like.
Kind of, because that's how you felt with when you exited Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it same year, folks. So you can't say, well, things were different then. No, they weren't.
All you had to do was look at Iron Man and The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Same fucking year. And this comes out and it's looking like it was a Sci-Fi Channel show.
Mm-hmm. Using color comic palettes and shit. It's like, don't. It didn't work with Hulk. Hulk was a stupid fucking film. Like the 2003
Hulk?
Yeah.
Oh like, God, that long snooze fest. Jesus Christ.
And that there was a lot of elements that were taken from that movie that were incorporated into this film. And you're just kind of like, oh, okay. Kind of like the whole Batman and Robin taking from Flash thing. Okay. That's all they had. At least
to this movie's credit, it was only an hour and 35 minutes, including credits. So it was over quick.
I appreciated that. Speaking of over quick, one thing I did like was the very minute use of fire CGI that they used in this movie to light Billy's eye.
God, that was horrible. Oh my God. At least Frank took out Jigsaw like that.
This time. Like the first
well, I'm assuming he's dead. Because we never got another goddamn movie.
Yeah, 20 years later, he's going to come back. Wait, for Deadpool and Wolverine?
Somehow, Jigsaw has returned.
I don't know. I hope not. I don't need overacting in comic films. I just don't. I don't. The MCU did great with their villains, making them believable, believable and relatable. Now, unfortunately, that got into a recipe of making them tragic characters. But no, like they just needed to have been sadistic assholes, more or less, like John Travolta was in 2004.
Yeah.
Or The Russian.
Yeah, that was pretty rad.
So.
Yeah, the Russians in this in the final fucking battle, They take out the Chinese gang, and then you never see them again.
No, they had no business there otherwise.
They were there to make sure that Jigsaw died.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that part was stupid, and I'm sure Frank should have killed the rest of them too, but, you know, they didn't have the budget for all that.
Yeah, not enough budget to fix all the plot holes. Gotcha. There's so many plot. Anyway, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole.
No, yeah. I'm going to say something bad about the mom.
Say it. Then we'll sign out.
They didn't leave her damn cooking show on. That was fucked up.
Totally fucked up. But what's not fucked up? 0 Point reviews. If you like this video, please hit the like button down below. Got any comments about this movie? Are we seeing things that you're not, or you saw things that we're not? Make a comment down below. We want to hear about it. And also hit that little subscribe button. Hit that little bell notification so you can stay tuned to all of our YouTube videos and all of our content coming up. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. You're not sufficiently punished, because we are talking Netflix's Punisher Season 1 and Season 2 coming up on our podcast. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you all on the next one. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at sunsandshadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.